everyone. Welcome to Cross and Kin and the Cross and Kin Garage. I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy.
And this is Star Wars Month. We are halfway through our month-long celebration of all things Star Wars.
Well, all things that we talk about during this month anyway. Go back and look at last year's if you want a compendium of Star Wars things.
And make sure you put your suggestions for next Star Wars Month down in the comments. I read those a lot, so please comment, give us a like, tell all of your nerd friends that it's Star Wars Month here at Cross and Kin. Today, we are combining a series from Cross and Kin with our love of Star Wars. We are doing a Let's Recast It with the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. This is one of those movies that Hollywood, so help me, if you remake it, there are going to be pitchforks from more than just Cross and Kin.
There won't be a remake. And that's one of the things that we do with Recast It. We try our best to find those films that we really don't want Hollywood to remake. But if we ever happen to get a production studio, it doesn't mean that we won't buy the rights to it. So, yeah, dreaming for the future.
The way Recast It works, we take an older movie, in this case, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and we give it a modern day cast. Now, with this particular film, because it is a franchise that is still ongoing, we did have one rule. No one who is part of Star Wars is allowed to be cast in this film.
We just eliminated the majority of actors in Hollywood.
All right, let's get started.
To start off the night, Kristen's going to give you an idea of the myriad of characters that we could choose from. We really want to stay with New Hope's classic, just main characters.
We are going to be casting Luke, Leia, Han, Obi-Wan, C-3PO, Vader's voice, not the person in the suit, just his voice, and Tarkin. We aren't going to be casting R2 because nowadays with technology what it is, they can do an animatronic of him and then computerize his voice.
Well, and, you know, Dave Filoni does such a great chopper, he could do R2-D2 as well. There you go.
There you go.
We just recast R2-D2. Dave Filoni, he's all yours.
All right, now on with the show. We start off with Luke, originally played by Mark Hamill. Go ahead.
Mark Hamill is not the greatest actor.
But he's not a bad Luke.
He's not a bad Luke. But, we've mentioned this before perhaps, the character seems to be a whiny teenager. Throughout the entire
trilogy.
4 films, yeah. And even going into, we mentioned this when we were doing our ranking of Star Wars films, that Luke's character really needed to be beefed up. He's probably, I hate to say, the weakest link in the whole thing, especially since it's called the Skywalker saga. However, the character, I'm just not a Mark Hamill fan. Now, don't get me wrong. Mark Hamill has come along and done some incredible voiceover stuff. Some incredible
great voice acting.
Behind the camera stuff, especially when it comes to animation. And so, you know, props to you there. Your best, you found your niche. You probably, you know, but the character of Luke is the main cog in this 4, 5, and 6 New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and the Return of the Jedi. So you really need a class act to kind of hone this guy in.
My pick is Tom Holland. He has been everywhere lately. He's Spider-Man. He's the main character in Uncharted. He's soon, as of this recording, he's soon to be Frank Sinatra in a biopic about Frank Sinatra's life. He's a class act, and I really think he would be able to pull this off well. I think because he's my age. I think he's in his late 20s now. He would maybe take out a little of Luke's whiny-ish tendencies and make it charming.
Yeah.
I would very much like to hear him try to say that Tosche Station line without it sounding, because that is the clunkiest line. That's not on Mark Hamill. But anyway, I think Tom Holland would bring a a beautiful naivete. Like his Spider-Man is a really kind of Luke Skywalker, especially in 4 type character. So I think if he brought the energy that he brought with Peter Parker Spider-Man to Luke, he would do a really great job.
That's a good cast. My Luke is Taron Egerton, better known as
Eggsy in The Kingsman and the voice of the gorilla from the Sing movies.
the Sing movies are absolutely precious. That's where I know more.
Johnny, that's his name.
Johnny, that's right. Of it from. Unfortunately, Luke doesn't sing. Taron Egerton has a great voice,
Also
and
Elton John.
also Elton John in
And
Rocket
Rocket
Man.
Man.
And so it is. He is one of these up and coming actors, especially with the Kingsman series that he's just now, I believe, gotten into, or perhaps
Or
been in a
wrapping up.
couple of
Wrapping
couple
up.
of the
He's
films.
wrapping them up.
So Taron Egerton, yeah, he's my Luke. I think he would also mature up the role. I think he would be a great companion to my Leia and Han as the trilogy Trinity goes for these movies. So yeah, Taron Egerton.
I like that cast. All right, up next we have Princess Leia Organa, as played beautifully by the dearly, dearly missed Carrie Fisher. She was an amazing actress. She brought class to this film.
And it's funny because prior to this, she's played some pretty unclassy characters. She was in the original Blues Brothers as the psychopathic girlfriend of John Belushi's role. And it was brilliant.
Yes.
She was wonderful in that role.
Yes.
So you see a different side to her. Later on, when Harry Met Sally, she is a perfect comic foil
beautiful in that
for
movie.
for Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal's roles, but in this film,
she owns it.
Owns it.
She's the boss.
She is a bad Leroy Brown. Notice how I cleaned that up.
Yes, very good. Good
You're
job,
welcome.
Daddy. This is a family channel.
Okay, you're Leia.
My Leia.
Leia.
I have picked Sophie Turner. Dad, you would know her from the X-Men prequel movies. You've seen Apocalypse, yeah?
I don't remember very well,
she
so.
plays young Jean Grey
Okay.
in X-Men Apocalypse and then X-Men Dark Phoenix. She is probably best known for Game of Thrones. She is the eldest, I believe, Stark daughter. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I've seen clips, and she has a regalness about her, especially in the clips I've seen of Game of Thrones. She can play a noble woman, and that's what Leia is. But she can also play deeply intelligent and minorly conniving. All right,
My Leia is another Marvel casted alum. Thank you. My Leia is Florence Pugh. She showed her versatility as an actress, showing that she can do something other than be Black Widow's sister.
Little Women. She's great in Little Women.
I haven't seen that film, but she was also in Oppenheimer. She played I can't recommend the film. I just can't. I wish I could, but as a biopic, it just really I didn't like it that well. A lot of folks did. I didn't. Florence Pugh, however, her role was very different than anything else I had seen her in up to that point. So I think she could pull off the physicality because of what she did in Black Widow. I think she can pull off the regalness because of her attitude also in Black Widow. And yeah, Florence Pugh, I think it would make a good, with a dark hairdo and Leia buns, she would be in good shape.
Be good. I'm a little torn as to which of our ladies I'd prefer. We picked good ones. Us.
Of course we did.
All right, up next we have everybody's favorite scoundrel, Han Solo, but played by Harrison Ford.
It's funny. Everything that I've read, Harrison Ford really only wanted to be this one and done with this enterprise. You see that later on in the sequel movies that maybe he's just kind of calling it in a little bit. Still great actor.
In
absolutely
his defense, he was what, 75?
in the last
when
film.
he
Yeah,
filmed those.
I mean,
So give him a little break for just getting up there.
Harrison Ford is an incredible, one of my absolute favorite actors. And in my opinion, this role was the hardest to cast because you're thinking Indiana Jones, you're thinking all of the Jack Ryan films he was in, you're thinking Han Solo, you're thinking an amalgamation of who
Harrison Ford
exactly. And so for my pick, I love this pick. Now, here's a couple of things you need to think about, okay? He is about to be in this summer's, in my opinion, biggest movie, Twisters. Get ready, go watch the trailer for this thing. It is the sequel to the movie Twister, and it looks outstanding. I love storms anyway. My pick comes from Top Gun Maverick, Glenn Powell. Han Solo, Glenn Powell, yes.
I think he'd do a good job.
I think he captured enough of the scoundrel in Maverick, and from what I'm seeing in the trailers,
that seems to be his
that
role
seems to
in...
be his modus operandi.
All
Glenn
right.
Powell, my Han Solo.
My Han
Pew,
Solo, you
pew.
got very excited about that one. My Han Solo, I'm like Dad. I had the absolute hardest time casting this role.
Yep.
And so I literally Googled actors in their early 30s. Like, I was desperate. And then I saw a trailer. And it's hilarious because the movie I got this actor from actually stars a Star Wars alum. The gentleman who plays Uncle Owen in the prequel films, and then again in the Obi-Wan series, Joel something, I believe is his name, um, is the star of Boys in the Boat, and one of his co-stars is my Han Solo, Callum Turner. I didn't realize it when I first saw the Boys in the Boat trailer, but I do actually know this actor from something else. He plays Newt's brother Theseus in the Fantastic Beasts films. Um, so I do know him. This would be a bit of a departure for him. He has the right look. Um, to
He
be
can certainly
Han
handle the
Solo, he can
physicality
certainly
because
handle the
yeah,
physicality
Boys in
because
the
of
Boat.
Boys in the Boat.
And let me pause for just a second. Go and see Boys in the Boat. Incredible film. It was it to me. It should have been, or if it hasn't been considered Oscar bait, it should be. It is just absolutely incredible film. This actor and all of the actors involved in the film did an outstanding job. Stream Boys in the Boat wherever it's available.
It should be available on Prime. They were advertising it a couple of days ago.
Gotcha.
Anyway, he, like I said, he has the right look. He can definitely handle the physicality. I've seen interviews with him. He's hysterical. So I think he and Sophie would play off of each other beautifully. And he's still young enough that I think he could be a mainstay Han. Like, he could handle the rest of the films if we did the rest of the trilogy. So yeah, Callum Turner. He's my Han. All right, up next we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, originally played by Alec Guinness. This guy was what? Veteran actor, Shakespearean trained.
Veteran, he is knighted. He is actually
Sir Alec Guinness. My lord. But Obi-Wan. Everybody knows who Obi-Wan is. He's the Jedi Master. He's the one that starts Luke on his hero's journey. He's the epitome of the wise old master trope. My Obi-Wan. Again, this was kind of a hard role to cast because, I mean, how do you top Alec Guinness when
Sir Alec Guinness.
Sir Alec Guinness when Ewan McGregor is no longer an option?
Right.
I mean, they had the most perfect cast with Ewan McGregor if you're trying to replace Alec Guinness. But I think I found a worthy successor. I picked Toby Stevens. If you don't know that name, he played John Robinson.
Yes.
He played John Robinson in Netflix's Lost in Space. He's the bad guy in
the worst Bond film ever.
One of the worst Bond movies. He think he's in a show called Black Sails on either Cinemax or HBO.
TNT maybe.
I don't think it's TNT.
Okay.
It's on one of the cable channels. But he is a great
Good actor.
actor.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
He's either British or Scottish. I can't remember which. He's also currently on Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney Plus. He plays Poseidon.
Good casting there.
Really good
Yeah.
casting there.
Yeah.
Yes. Go see Percy Jackson and the Olympians. It's really good. But he's old enough that he can definitely put a little bit more white in his hair. He can definitely portray the wise old master, especially since there's like I think almost 30 years between him and Tom Holland,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's a good age gap there. Um and he could definitely do the lightsaber. I can totally see him doing the trading of barbs with Vader. And then I can also see him as the Force Ghost later on. And he's got a great voice, so if we did just stick with the voiceover instead of full on Force Ghost, it would still be a wonderful
Out of the
time.
things that I've seen with Toby Stevens, the only real letdown was the Bond film. Right.
So who's your Obi-Wan, Daddy?
I got you beat.
Oh, do you?
I do. He is redeemed. Finally, gloriously, finally redeemed as an actor. My Obi-Wan is Sean Bean.
You went with a Bond villain too.
I went with the Bond villain. Hey, I hadn't thought about that. Bond villain too. He was in Goldeneye. He was
Yes.
delicious in Goldeneye. But he
Best
was
known
in
as
Lord of the Rings
Boromir.
and this and National Treasure and it's always seemingly
A bit of a bad guy.
a bit of a bad guy.
Bad guy in Lord of the Rings, but still.
He was a bad guy. Bad guy in Bond. Bad guy in National Treasure. Bad guy in Lord of the Rings.
And he always dies.
And he always dies.
Die too. I still come back.
Still come back as a Force ghost.
Kick the box.
Sean Bean needs redemption. He needs to be a hero somehow or another. So I'm sure he's had a picture or two in his great compendium of films where he has been the hero.
Wasn't he a bad guy in one of Harrison Ford's Jack Ryan movies?
He was indeed. Thank you very much. He was indeed. He's used to playing at the very best an anti-hero. But this is a full-on good guy role. And I think he would pull it off very, very well. I think the baton would be passed from Sir Alec Guinness to Ewan McGregor to him extremely well. I would love to see him be a good guy. I think he could pull off the physicality. I think he certainly pulls off the dialect. And it would be very, very cool to see Sean Bean killed and then come back.
Yeah, he doesn't usually get to come back.
Doesn't usually get to come back. Sean Bean's my Obi-Wan.
Not a bad pick. I think mine's better. Let us know who has the better Obi-Wan down in the comments below. All right, up next we have C-3PO. Say your thing.
Annoying! The most annoying actor you can ever imagine. I've got him.
I did not go with the annoying actor route.
Okay.
I went with an actor that I believed could take 3PO's annoying tendencies and a little bit like Tom Holland with Luke, turn them into charm.
Not with that script.
He was originally played by Anthony Daniels.
Very well.
Very well.
Please don't get me wrong.
He's still playing the role.
Anthony Daniels, phenomenal job with this role. And I think some of it is the same criticism that I have with Mark Hamill. I'm not as crazy about the character as I think the actor who portrayed it, who did a beautiful job. Classic film, great film. I just think those characters needed a little bit something more to
flesh them out,
but make them more endearing to the viewer as well. So,
but do give Anthony Daniels his props. He had to be in a very, very, very uncomfortable shell in the freaking desert. So maybe that's why he comes off as annoying. He's in agony.
I think your pick is pretty good.
But yes, my pick is Martin Freeman.
He does have a history in science fiction. He was in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
As well as The Hobbit.
and he was also and he's also been a part recently in the Marvelverse,
Mm-hmm.
quite effectively, and from what I understand, has more roles to come.
I hope so. But he is probably best known for being the Watson to Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock in BBC's Sherlock, and that's kind of the attitude of him that I was pulling from, because as much as I love his Watson, in that show has a tendency to be a bit of a nag,
Yeah, you're right. I see
and
that now.
so
Yeah,
so I think he could bring less annoying, more nagging
I
to
see.
the
Yeah.
3PO role.
Okay,
Like, I
that's
don't
fair.
mind 3PO being a nag so long as it's a nag I can laugh at.
He's still one of my least favorite droids.
Yes, I know. You tried to leave him off our droid countdown. Hard up above Daddy's head, I hope. But yeah, Martin Freeman, my C3PO.
I've got it pegged. Body shape, annoying character. He's played nothing but annoying characters in everything I've seen him in. He was in Hidden Figures as an annoying character. He was in The Big Bang Theory as an annoying character. He is probably at the end of Young Sheldon as the annoying character. My pick is Jim Parsons. I think he could pull off the voiceovers very, very well. He certainly has the whine. If you've ever watched one episode of Big Bang Theory, you know that he has the whine down.
Please note, Dad is not trying to bully Jim Parsons. He is at least vaguely meaning these as a compliment.
I like Jim Parsons as an actor. I really do. He comes off in these roles exactly like he's supposed to be. I've never met him. I am a fan of Jim Parsons. Please do not get me wrong. I am a fan of Jim Parsons. I think Jim Parsons would make a great 3PO,
I
whether
agree.
encased in gold or as
Just
a
doing the
voiceover.
voice.
Either one.
I mean, I agree. I think Jim Parsons would be just fine.
Mine's better.
All right. Up next, we have, while he's not technically the main bad guy, he is certainly the one that everybody remembers. We have Vader, specifically Vader's voice. We are not trying to put these actors that we're casting in the black suit. Vader is supposed to be like
8 feet tall.
8 feet
Yeah.
tall and intimidating as all get outs. Unfortunately, not many actors are 8 feet tall. So we're gonna leave this to voice, and whomever wants to crawl in that suit, they are more than welcome to. His original voice was James Earl Jones.
I mean, what more can you say? There is just, and that's one of the reasons why we really feel like that this film will never, ever, ever get a reboot or remake.
You could
Okay,
never recapture the intimidating voice of James Earl Jones, even though apparently they're going to start doing it with AI, and he's given permission for that. But he has officially retired from the voice of Vader and has given permission to the powers that be to start generating Vader voice with his likeness voice through AI. My pick for Vader is Henry Simmons. I know him best, and I think he is probably most famous for being Mac from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
okay.
He's a huge man, so in theory, he could be in the Vader suit. I think he's like 6'8", so he's very, very tall. But he's got this deep, deep voice that it's either going to be the most comforting thing or it's going to be the thing you hear before you die.
It really depends on whether the lights are on or not.
Depends on whether or not he likes you or not.
He could handle the physicality too, because he had some pretty demanding physical
Oh yeah,
portions in
Agents of
Shield.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside of that universe, though, I'm not sure. I've seen him in
have not
anything.
seen him in anything, and that's what's so sad. He's a great actor. He could actually bring some emotion to Vader. I have very little doubt he could bring some emotion to Vader's voice, and I think he would do a fantastic job.
Absolutely, great pick. However, mine is better.
Oh, you keep saying.
I keep saying that because it's true. My pick. We mentioned Sherlock earlier. He's also been a bad guy in Star Trek. He's also been
Desolation of Smaug.
okay. Very good. Lord of the Rings.
He's Smaug.
He
and
is
he is Doctor Strange.
He is Doctor Strange. He is in the fantasy sci-fi. He is a great, great. His voice is absolutely incredible. My pick's Benedict Cumberbatch. Mine's there. Benedict Cumberbatch. What more can you say? He was a very, very good bad guy in Star Trek. He was absolutely just incredible in that role. He also, his voice, if you're just going to talk strictly voices, Smaug in The
Desolation
Hobbit,
of Smaug.
Desolation of Smaug, was very, very good. His acting chops are incredible. They're impeccable. He is wonderful in Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch, the Darth Vader.
And lastly, we come to one of the villains in this film. He's the general, he's the Grand Moff Governor. That's his title. He's the politician in this film.
Already bad guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grand Moff Tarkin, as originally played by Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing was an incredible actor before he got Star Wars.
Did he play Dracula at one point?
I don't know, but he could have very easily. He had a long. I want to say most of his acting came off the stage.
I don't doubt that for a minute.
And he's as I understand, a classically trained actor. Probably mostly England theater, BBC type roles. I don't know that to be true. Tell us down below if you're a Peter Cushing fan.
I mean, he just did this one Star Wars movie, and nerds across the globe adore him. All right.
So, who do we cast?
My Tarkin is somebody who I've only really seen as a good guy, with the exception of one role. But apparently, he's best known for playing bad guys. My Tarkin is Hugo Weaving. He played Elrond in Lord of the Rings, and he played Red Skull in Captain America: The First Avenger. But I know for a fact that he is probably best known for playing the bad guy in The Matrix. Agent Smith, I think, is the character's name. And from looking at his IMDb page, there are a ton of villains on that roster. I have no doubt that he could pull off the smarmy politician of Tarkin, as well as the coldness of somebody who's willing to blow up a planet. Let's just let that sink in for a minute. This is the dude that wants to blow up the planet. So, I mean, I have very little doubt that Hugo Weaving could pull off the coldness needed for Tarkin. I think he could pull off the smarmy politician type needed for Tarkin. And I think he'd be really, really great in the role.
I like your pick better than mine this time. I do, honestly. Because my pick is a hero. In most anything and everything I've seen him in, he was a hero in Lord of the Rings. He was a hero in that horse movie,
Hidalgo.
And he continues. He would have made a good Han Solo too, but I think he's going to wind up being too old at this point. But my pick is Viggo Mortensen in this role. I would like to see him diversify his portfolio to a certain extent and come across as a bad guy. Now, I can't ever recall ever seeing Viggo Mortensen clean shaven. So, I mean, he'd have to clean up a bit.
I've seen it. It's unnatural.
The soldier. It's unnatural. All the roles we've seen him in, he's been dirty. He's been 4 or 5 days scruffy, longer hair. It's just, he would have to come off as the military politician man in this role, and I think he could do it. But again, I kind of like yours casting better than mine this time.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, everybody, that's our pick. That's our casting for Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. How did we do? What do y'all think? Would you mix and match our casts? Since Daddy seems to be making it a competition, whose picks did you like better? Do you guys have any better actors in mind for these roles? Now, we've said before, we can only cast the people that we've actually seen in stuff. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Let us know how you liked it down in the comments below. Leave us a like, ring that notification bell, and be sure you subscribe. And like I said at the beginning, tell all your friends that it's Star Wars month here at Crossing Kin, and we still have a couple of weeks to
If you know
go.
someone who just kind of likes the original trilogy, this recast it would be for them. Maybe they don't want to see the fact that we dig into the droids, or maybe they don't know all of the ins and out of who maybe Fives is, but maybe they loved Episode 4, A New Hope. Point them to this video.
There's a Star Wars fan, whether they're the people who know all the lore down to the books that aren't considered canon anymore, or just the person that's just seen the movies once and thought they were okay. All Star Wars fans are welcome here in the Crossing King Garage, and we hope to see you again next week.
Crossing Kin, where everybody's family.
But we're signing off for today, so until next time, I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy, and from the Crossing King Garage,
May the Force
be
be
with
with
you.
you. Bye!